So, what's up, Rhody Nation? I'm your host, Scott Brand, for the Go Rhody podcast. Today, we are going to be Abdul Fox. Can I call you Fox?
Yeah, of course.
Okay. We're going to meet Fox, and his claim to fame, recent claim to fame, is he beat Michael Jordan. We're going to get to that. Sorry about that. We have to bring that up. But before we do, we have to find out who you are and why some people have called you a legend. I was going to call you a great player, but the fans that I know are calling you a legend. And why are you a legend? Your sophomore, junior year, you led the teams to 3 rounds in the NIT, one short of the Garden. Big win against Boston College by one. One fan told me it was one of the top 5 greatest games he's ever seen. I'm sure you had a big game there. And then as an encore, your junior year, you played against, I think, 22 ranked Purdue with Glenn Big Dog Robinson. He poured in 36 points. You had an efficient 14 points, 25 minutes. You know what? You guys won.
Yes.
And it's right up there with the top wins that you've ever had as a program. So without further ado, let's ask this big question. How did you beat Michael Jordan?
Man, I think it was a practice game. It was a practice game, but that gentleman does not like to lose at anything. I don't care if it's, we're racing from practice to downtown. He's just so competitive in every aspect of his life. But it was humbling, but I got my butt kicked for the rest of the week. So
I heard about that. What did he tell you that night after you beat him? You have to tell us the story. I love it.
Man, it was a practice game. So I think it was me, Scotty, Jason Caffrey was his rookie year. And it might have been either Steve or one of the other shooters. And it was drills. And, after the first and second time we didn't lose, Scotty started running his mouth. I'm quiet. I'm just trying to make the team. But him and Scotty got into it. And when we didn't lose, the next day I had to guard him. And I think he may have hit 8 straight baskets. I mean, my hand's in his face. The closeout is there. He says, young fella, that's 8 straight baskets. That's only in the first quarter. He said, times that by 4 quarters. And I got about 50 points. And I was like, no worry. I'll be back tomorrow. I said, well, don't worry. So will I. I mean, what do you say?
So you walk back to the locker room and you're like, oh no, what's going
to happen? Yeah, and I'm a guard, so my rotation, was never an easy day because I either had to guard Scotty, Michael, Steve Kerr, Ron Harper, or Tony Kukoc. So every day, every assignment was just like, man, it was humbling.
Well, I want to play a video that you were on.
I'll tell you the funniest story that I'm kicking my butt to this day. He gave me everything, all this practice stuff with number 45. Me not thinking to save it, I go to the hood and I give it out to all the kids I grew up with, not thinking that I should have saved it. It's just because you don't think it's going to end. You think you belong, you don't think it's going to end. And at that point, I really said, listen, I can't respect the guy as much because I'm playing like trash. But the thing, he's like, here, man, here's all my practice stuff with number 45. And I didn't hoard that stuff. I'm smacking myself in the head to this day. Oh, man.
Well, Fox, what can I say about that? How did you do that? You would have been in Forbes top 100 if you. What were you thinking?
You know what? You think it's never going to end. Like I said, when I was playing at that level, I thought I arrived. That was just an unbelievable team to try to make. But I just once I got his respect, I just had to treat him like an ordinary person and able to compete at that level. I couldn't be an org, so I guess that was my mindset. But I did keep the sneakers that he gave me.
Oh, that's an exclusive here today. I didn't know.
Yeah.
Well, you know what? If you want, I'll come over to Queens with you and try to get that back. Let's go over to the journey of your career.
Sure.
Let's start with football. Football was the reason why you're a basketball player today. Let's tell our audience today what happened on the field.
I grew up, Pop wanted football. I think I thought I was Eric Dickerson. I had the goggles, I had the little neck guard, wore number 29. I even had that cage he wore on his helmet. But I had an unfortunate accident. You can almost see how that bone sticks up.
Oh,
I had a helmet when I was running. I was a running back. The dude's helmet broke my hand. And at that point, my parents said, listen, you can't play football anymore.
I understand a correction officer, a woman, was really.
Oh, my God.
She
man.
her butt, though, didn't she?
Oh, man. That was she's just an amazing soul. Amazing. Tears to my eyes for what she was able to bring to my life at an early age. And just, I was an outsider. She coached some kids from Queensbridge Projects, where Ron Artest is from. And I wasn't from that neighborhood. So I was the outsider. And I got picked on, but she said, you need to stand up for yourself. She would take me out on Saturdays and always trying to work on my skill set. And just an unbelievable person. Her trajectory was what led me. And she passed me on to Vincent Smith, who's Kenny Smith's brother.
Yeah.
So then I had another great mentor. And then just that tutelage from that small hub of people, allowed me to grow into, I think, a better player and also a better person.
And then, just like you said, you played for Kenny Smith's brother. I know he wouldn't want to be called that. He wants to call out his name, right? But,
he's the guru. He's the guru. We call him the foundation. So I call him the foundation.
Wow.
He's a guru.
I love that nickname.
Yeah.
And we have 40 now at Rhode Island. That's a great nickname.
Yeah. We played at the same team in Italy, too. So we know some of the same people. So good story.
How about if we call you 45 for giving up all those jerseys? But let's get over to St. John's Prep. You said you rode the bench. I'm sure there's a lot of reasons starting at such a late age, and they're also a pretty darn good program.
We have a lot of offers. I almost signed with Springfield College. Took a visit there, and my high school coach went to St. Peter's. So I believe it was the Cushing Academy coach called St. Peter's and said, hey, you need to check out this kid. And, they think maybe watch 1 or 2 games and some film and, offer me a scholarship. And it was the only Division I offer I had. So I had to take it.
But you really would have liked to go to Georgia Tech, but this guy, Kenny Anderson.
Oh, man.
Who is he to stop you from going there?
I'm glad you brought that up. See, they came to Jack Curran's camp. And, I might have been an MVP of that camp. And they were really recruiting me hard. I took a visit. But, once Kenny Anderson signed, Coach Kramer was like, listen, we've got a great recruiting year. We'd love to help you out, but, we're good. So I think I would have sat out. They wanted to redshirt me that year, his freshman year. And I would have sat out, and then hopefully, that is just a crazy story that I'm in Atlanta now. And the last time I had been in Atlanta was that college visit. But that would have been great. But, Kenny did his thing, and, I'm not mad at Coach Clemens, but that was my number one choice.
So you went to St. Peter's. It really wasn't a great experience. The coach wasn't so nice. There was a New York, New Jersey thing going on. You just weren't happy there.
No, I at this point, I've had great coaches. So to have someone be belligerent and, vocal with that type of language, my dad wouldn't sit behind the bench. He's like, I can't sit behind the bench because I'm going to say something. And, I flustered through it and just wasn't much of a campus life. But again, when you're at that age, all you want to do is play Division I basketball. I think Lionel Simmons was the big name in our conference, so I got to compete against him. And I was evolving. But when I didn't make the all-freshman team and my teammates seemed to be happy that I didn't, I was like, I got to get out of here. And I was going to go to Fordham University, but the AD, and I don't know if he's going to ever see this, but he didn't want me to play in the same conference.
Of course he's going to see this. Everyone's going to see this.
So he said, yeah, you can go to Fordham, but we're going to do an investigation to see if there was any tampering. I was like, tampering? I averaged 5 points as a freshman. There was no such thing as tampering. And that kind of scared me to go to Fordham, in the event I could lose a year. And the crazy story is how I got to Rhode Island was Abdul Fox, who I met at Rick Barnes' camp. We became great friends. He called URI. Said, hey, I got this kid. He goes to St. Peter's. He wants to transfer. And Tim O'Shea said, all right, if he's serious, have his transcript, and, you know, he can come on an unofficial visit this date. And I had all my stuff, came dressed, you know, shirt and tie. And, you know, I walked on campus at URI. But that's how I ended up there, Abdul Samsudeen.
A crosstown rival gets you into URI. So you get to URI, you have to sit out a year. And you're sitting on the bench. And what happens?
Oh, this is ugly. This is not good. Interstate rivalry, you don't need it. And it continues.
Wow. Yeah. That was intense.
I wanted to go in there.
I sure did.
Good discipline on that.
Oh, man. Just, you know, I'm glad they renewed that rivalry, or they signed another 10-year deal for that. You know, that game to still go on. You know, it reminds me of a UNC Duke. Just that week leading up to that game, you know, you're trying to stay focused. You know everyone's going to be watching, and it's just a great environment. Great environment.
You had the last laugh on that.
Yeah.
81-79 win. And it was tough. I mean, Jeff Kent was in the middle of it. Al Skinner got punched in the eye.
Yeah. The rumors is Andre Samuel hit him, though, but I don't know if that's true.
Well, you were closer to court than I was. When I was a manager in 84, Brendan Malone years, we had a little.
Oh, yeah.
I was on the bench, and I'm 5'9", you know, 155. Look, maybe I should go on the court. Well, I saw this guy, Jacques Dudek. He was like 7 feet, 270 pounds. I ran right back to the bench. Phil Owens is like, Scott, what are you thinking about going on that court? But so it was easy for me to decide on that.
Yeah.
Let's go over to the PowerPoint. And you look at it, you're 39th. It really wasn't an accurate number if you stayed at URI 4 years. And I know you didn't get the minutes you wanted. That's another story we'll talk about.
Yeah. But I had already transferred, so I had to make the best of what situation I had.
8th in 3-point percentages. You were in the top. You're still on the top in that.
Oh, wow. I didn't know that.
Then Atlantic 10, second, third team. These are the reasons why you're a legend. This one I'd like to hear about. No one really talks about it. You're voted by Dick Vitale as one of America's top small forwards. Tell me about that. That's a big deal.
It's you know, Dickie V is, you know, that was the voice then, you know, and you know, to compete that conference, I don't think people realize how good that conference was when I was in school. You know, I think the Big East was scared of us, is why they snatched West Virginia and they took Rutgers out. I think the A10 was really on its way to doing some great things. You know, then Calipari, you know, left, and then, you know, a couple of great coaches left. And, you know, rest his soul, Cheney. Just great conference to be in. And to compete in the 2-guard in that conference, it was special. The third team, I don't know if you know the story behind that. I threw that plaque against the wall. I told them to go F themselves at the A10 banquet. I felt that was a disjustice. But again, you know.
I love that, Fox. I
don't know if I was a hothead. I just know how hard I worked, and I thought that was an injustice.
And another thing was, let's get back to this Atlantic 10. We had the great coaches. Rutgers and West Virginia were there. But also, you were second team 1 year. First team, everybody went to the NBA. McKee, Camby was on that list. So this Atlantic 10 was big time. And then you had a brilliant 10-year overseas career. Your big highlight was Italy, where you guys won 18-1. You didn't even have to play in the championship.
Yeah.
It's another level.
Yeah.
And one of the talking about overseas, this is really what epitomizes you, not as a player, but as a person. you took a year off just so you could see your kid brother play basketball.
Oh yeah.
That's pretty good. That shows the character that you really have. It goes further than basketball.
But I think one of the statistics that I'm most passionate about is that second team all conference. People don't realize I was 8th on the team in minutes. So it wasn't like I was second team, but I was playing 40 minutes. There was still 7 guys in front of me playing more minutes. So that's where my little conflict or, I've always been a team player. I think Al could have done things differently. I'm older now. You look back and you kind of analyze your life a little bit different. But like I said, I didn't have an opportunity to transfer again. Those are the cards I was dealt. And, I was very pleased and, happy about that second team. And, that Boston College story is, they had them at halftime where they were going next. So that was just a great, great win. And I think we ran out of gas in Utah just with that altitude. But we were all from New York, so we were all just trying to get to the Garden. I mean, that would have just been special, So it's a great bunch of guys, man. I was happy to compete with them.
Didn't you grab a microphone after you guys beat Purdue or someone when they were?
Well, they kept talking about the big matchup, Glenn Robinson with UNC. And, I tapped the mic. I was like, they haven't even played us yet. And y'all talking about this big matchup with UNC. And I was like, we're here to make some noise. And that was just another big win that I was, proud of. Because all you want to do is get to the tournament as a kid and, to be on that big stage and, have that big win against, a Big Ten school. It was awesome.
Tell me about the BC and PC games. I can't find any videotape on it. You played really well in both of those games.
It's funny. I've got those on VHS, probably at the house in Queens.
You get them?
Yeah. I still got that BC game.
You got to get that.
Both those games. Yeah, I got both those games. The BC game was great because they had Howard Isley, they had Billy Curley. BC, being in the Big East, the Atlantic 10 always trying to prove themselves. But we just had a solid team. Mike Brown, Jeff Kent, Kyle Ivy Jones, DeMont Collins. We just had a great group of players that really know how to compete at a high level. And, we were losing at halftime. And at that point, the NIT, seemed to be about, if you had the best arena to pack, make money in the NIT. And at that point, Boston College, we might have been down by double digits. Wow. I think they had him playing Arizona State or wherever they had him already, talking about at halftime. And we came back in that double overtime win. It was just, that was the first time I started. I started all the NIT my sophomore year. I didn't start regular season, but the NIT, he put me in the starting lineup. So it was just great to play with, Jason Alexander in the backcourt and just it's a great win. And PC is just that game every year. I don't care if we go 1-10, if you beat PC, it's just a great feeling. And, them always have a chip because they're in the Big East. And, as a player, you feel like that's a conference above the A-10. But to me, you always had something to prove.
And there's a reason why you did so well. You beat a lot of top 20 teams. The wins besides the postseason performance is phenomenal. But you were saying that you were too deep at every position. So I guess that's why you did so well as a team. Tell me about that.
Well, you want to be on the court, but at the same time, we had 2 point guards, we had two guards, we had 2 small forwards. So when you got on the court, you had to maximize your minutes because you had someone just as good as you that could play. So practice was always competitive, and I think that's what led into games. But you could have switched our whole starting 5 if you wanted to at that point. We were just that deep. We're that deep.
Now I'm going to draw a parallel. I don't know how closely you're following Rhode Island this year. They only have 4 players returning. I think they're going to surprise some people, and they're pretty much too deep at every position. The only difference is their players aren't as experienced as your players, so that they may not get to where you got, but I think there's going to be some surprises with that. They have 2 point guards, they have 2 shooting guards, 2 small forwards, every position. And these players have done well, whether they're in the transfer portal or they were recruited. Have you looked at Rhode Island at all this year? They brought in some really good players, but they don't have any respect at all.
I think he knows the blueprint. I think sometimes we want a quick fix, and I think his coaching staff and what he's done in his past, his pedigree, I think he's got the right ingredients now.
Now this is a incredible story. You had an interim AD, and tell me about you were screaming in the huddle. Fleet Bank. I remember Fleet Bank. I don't know if it's still around now, but tell me that was amazing. I didn't get it entirely, so I might ask you a few questions. But what happened there with your run to the NIT and all the money that was flowing in?
So the NIT, we used to get meal money, and each round you would go to NIT, you would get more per diem, more meal money. So the interim AD. He didn't really, I think, knew all the rules. So I think we were getting more money we were supposed to be getting. So literally, we're like, when the team, right before the game, you go into the huddle, we do your little speech and we put our hands up. We were literally in that saying Fleet Bank on 3.
Wow.
And it was just, an internal, just, fun thing we did. And we just was excited. So when we got to the NCAA, we was like, we really going to get this big money. Because now we in the tournament, and all we got was some T-shirts and a couple of dollars. We were like, what's this? And then that's when I forgot. Ron Peach was like, nah, you guys weren't supposed to get all that money in the NIT. Blase Blah goes back to the school, man. We were a little upset.
Fleet Bank on 3.
Fleet Bank on 3, bro.
What about this season right here, in terms of the players that you see out there in the schedule?
UMass was just, they were the it for the A-10. So that was always great. I think one of the sleeper teams was GW, had Yinka Dare and Mike Jarvis. Oh, wow. And that's a great memory, Scott. Way to pull that up, man.
Then you went on and you started taking over the team, averaging 15 points a game. The Purdue game. What about the North Carolina game? That must have been tough. They won the championship. Were they just too big? I mean, I see your size. You're not very tall.
They had they had a couple of 7-footers, and we got off to a slow start, and that goes back to me having to come off the bench. I had to be a little more aggressive because we were down, so didn't really get a good flow of the game. And again, it's North Carolina. They were just too big, and we never really got into a competitiveness, where we could kind of really chip away at that lead. So funny, the pregame speech, I was gonna just have fun. He didn't even go into depth. This is gonna be a great strategy. It was like, listen, have fun. Like, what we gonna do with that?
About your training career, it looks like it's very successful. You're a partner with Orangetheory, and you also have Redline.
I've been fortunate enough to Orangetheory has really become a passion where I didn't really know I had. As a player, you're always the one training. So I've never really trained someone. That really resonated with me. And that's when I really took a passion in the fitness and really gave it my 10%. I'm 13 years in, so I've watched Orangetheory from the beginning, and I've watched it from its 2 studios now to over 1,500, and we have some in Dubai and Paris. So,
wow.
That's been a blessing.
I want to go over and talk about one of your clients, Karen Wyman and Kenzie.
Yes.
We're going to go to a video tape, but what makes it even more heartwarming is that Karen is a graduate of the University of Rhode Island. So now you have her there and their daughter. Tell me about your journey with Kenzie and kind of what it takes for someone to make it.
Passion. Kenzie has passion. Kenzie has a work ethic very similar to mine. She wants to be the best, and she's willing to study her craft and better her craft. That's all the ingredients of someone who I would just love to mold and be around and be a part of. So, when I have the opportunity to train her, when I have the opportunity to watch her, or even when I have the opportunity just to talk to her and try to pick her brain to see where her mindset is, it's just always, a pleasure because she wants to be that good. And, if you got great parents who support that, at the same time, she stays humble. Like, that's another piece that is hard to, with this generation, with the social media and, people always telling you how great you are. She's just a good kid who wants to be the best at what she does, and she's just a hard worker. So it's always a joy to be around her. 15 seconds. Good. Good. 10. Good. Up a little higher, Kayla. Accelerate. Good. Good, Kayla. Good. Good, good, good. Downhill, downhill. Sit down.
That's great.
That was gonna be tough.
Tough, but I could see the passion, and she's embracing the hard work there.
Yes, yes. I tried to compare her up with Kayla. Kayla's a Division I basketball player at Kennesaw State. Or right, did I get it right? It'd be her last year at Kennesaw State, but she went to the Final Four in Division II, and so I always try to put them together because I can see where Kenzie could be, and Kayla is just a very hardworking and talented player as well. So it was always great to have them in the same room, and but you can see Kenzie's work ethic is that's similar to mine. So it was just always great to have her in the building.
Do you have time for some Keaney Blue? You know Keaney Blue?
Yeah.
They're tough. They even critiqued Dan Hurley when he was coaching. They didn't like his offense at one point. But you came out clean. When I told them you were on there, these guys were so excited. You're just a fan favorite. And you performed on the court, which is one of the big things. Well, let's see what we have here for this. I know this question a little bit. How often do you get back to URI? And I understand you went to the PC game. How was that for you? It was a tough game.
It was a nostalgia. It was great to see the new arena. It was great to see some old and new players and just be in that environment. And great to see some alumni who I haven't seen in a long time. Just brought back a lot of great memories. So it was just a blessing. I hope to get back more. Just to be able to maybe lend an ear to the younger players in the event they want to talk to someone, not always their parents, and someone's already walked the walk.
Did you see Jimmy Butler at the game?
Yeah, him and
Lowry.
Yes, Kyle Lowry. Yes, Kyle Lowry.
Yeah, they were pretty cool sitting there with their nice jackets and everything.
Character, but I think it brought some eyes to Rhode Island. It was a great energy in that building that day. So. I got to hang out with Silk. Obviously, it was great to see 40. I was able to get a chance to chat with them. I saw them when they came and played Georgia State, or when they came to Atlanta.
Oh.
I got to see them again and got to talk to Coach Miller for the first time, and tell him trust the process, man. You know what you're doing. So that was a chance to catch up with some of the guys.
What's he like, Coach Miller?
He's again competitive, intense. Wants the best out of his players.
What I have a little problem here with what you're wearing or what you're not wearing.
Oh,
you need
gotta get some Rhody gear.
You need a Rhode Island hat. I'm going to try to do something about that with that.
Okay.
Talk to Thor, maybe get you two, and you can sign one, and we can go in and raffle it off because. You need to start promoting.
Yeah, I agree.
I'll talk to some of my people and see what we could do. At the very least, I'll reach in my wallet and send you one. Thanks so much for coming in, Fox, and you don't disappoint. And Jordan's story is priceless, but there's so many others. I'd be surprised at what we did, but it's great having you, and I anticipate this video doing really well because great personality, great stories, and great person.
Well, I appreciate it, Scott. And like I said, it was a great 4 years. Obviously you want to win more games, but just the experience with fans and the culture, it's a great place to be. So I'm hoping that basketball state can get back to where it wants to be, and that excitement in the gym.
And I always end like saying, when it comes to Rhode Island basketball, it's always arms therapy. Oh, wait, go Rhody. We'll end on that. Thank you, Fox.
Oh,
Let's
a
see.
pleasure, Scott.